Welcome to the Tone Jerks podcast. I am your host, Brian Gower, and with me today is
Kyle McIntyre.
And we have a very, very special guest in the house. Long time coming.
I'm Steve from 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar podcast.
There you go. Oh my God.
So is it a long time coming? Just since was
November.
it before NAMM? Yeah, it was like November.
October.
I kept putting it on like, Brian, I'm going to come, I promise.
I swear, it's going to happen, bro.
It's going to happen. It's just like, it's not a good time for me.
It's not you, it's me.
You kept ghosting me, bro.
It's
Anyways.
not like we ever set a date.
No, we didn't. But, you know. We are here now, so hopefully you guys have listened to the 60 Cycle Hum episode that came out yesterday, and you'll listen to this one too. It's a little different feel on the Tone Jerks here. So
yeah,
I'm
looking forward to it.
Let your hair down, have some bruchachos. Hopefully you guys are joining us for some bruchachos.
Had a few bruchachos already.
There we go.
Let's probably lay off the bruchachos.
But
I won't.
Yeah.
You can't stop me.
Can't tell me.
I'm like Miley Cyrus, can't stop, won't stop.
All right, let's get into what's new. Kyle, what's new in your world? What's shaking? What is grooving?
I went out on a limb and I got a DOD gunslinger. So the MOSFET distortion pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And got for like $30, free ship.
Yeah, you and everybody else
I know.
got on that sale.
I know. I could have got it locally, but I don't want to leave my house. So I bought it from New Jersey and waited. But yeah, it's
Wait,
actually...
where do you guys buy gear from now in San Diego?
I think Pitbull's running that same thing down in...
Yeah, I got mine from Pitbull.
Okay.
I don't
really get a lot of stuff local, I guess.
I try and go to Moe's when I can.
Yeah.
And get they actually have great used gear there. Like they have the whole
Orange.
whoa. Yeah. It's that's how I got my 8015, which is a pretty hard to find amplifier. 15 watts, UK made, 12-inch speaker. It's like, whoa, that was there randomly at Moe's. And you're like, okay, what the hell is this?
I found some diodes.
Yeah, don't lose those.
Put those in your ZA there.
Those are 34 1As.
All right, so how do you like that pedal?
It's good, actually. I really
You
like
actually
it.
really do love it.
I like my modded SD1. I think a little better. It has better. It's more clear.
They're kind of different. They're
they're both. I've modded it to be MOSFET, so I'm going off of the MOSFET distortion.
So it says MOSFET distortion
or overdrive.
I was saying because the SD1 does it have the same amount of gain as the Gunslinger? Because that thing has a ton of gain on top.
Yeah. The Gunslinger I don't think does.
It has a lot of volume output.
Yeah.
It has tons of output on the SD1 with the mod that you did.
Yeah.
It is
But I'm saying in terms of grit, does it get as dirty as the Gunslinger?
I haven't done a head-to-head on it.
No, it doesn't. The Gunslinger.
I probably should.
No, I tried it because Kyle, he's like, no, you got to try this pedal.
Dude, do it, bro.
Just do it, bro. And so I tried it. It's really good. My one thing about it is the Unity volume is at you have to be at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
so I'm
strange.
it's completely why is it so unusable? As I guess
not a whole lot of headroom.
Well, so that was the thing because you've been doing the whole DS1 thing for a while. And
yeah,
that was always my issue with the stock DS1 is Unity was it didn't exist. You turn that thing all the way up, but there was so much scooping on other frequencies that that Unity basically didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing Keeley style DS1 mods, I did 2 or 3 of them in my house.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest improvement was I can put the volume at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, you have more headroom.
And it works.
Yeah.
And then you can actually have room to go further. Yeah. But
so yeah, that's my new.
It's a good buy. So that was you're stoked to get that one.
Yeah, everyone's got one. I've every podcast I've ever listened to. They're like, "Oh, I got a Gunslinger." I'm like,
yeah.
I was just scrolling through Reverb. I'm like,
$30, man.
Yeah,
$30.
Can't beat that.
It's a no risk purchase.
Exactly.
I always feel bad saying on my show we talk about because we talk about gear a lot and used gear, but when stuff comes on sale, they're like, oh yeah, $100 for this guitar, no risk, and somewhere there's out there some guys
$100,
$100, man, what pipe dream are you living in? It's
It's also
I'm living in the pipe dream where I have a credit card.
Yeah, it's also what your commitment to it is. I'm like, okay, $100 for a guitar for me is I wouldn't want to use that on stage or in the band because I know it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
but it might be some fun in the studio or something where you just need something
8,
weird,
drive pedals together.
Yeah,
and that's just one of them.
All right, Steve, what's new in your world? Anything
man, I don't
crazy
know.
good?
I not gear wise, not
Doesn't have to be.
music-wise. I'm kind of a
It could be
I'm
anything.
kind of a boring person. My office just moved. That's exciting.
Yeah. Where are you moving to? Same building?
We're moving from Sereno, one side of Sereno Valley to the other.
There you go.
Cool.
And
New
I guess
building,
like
old building?
new building. We got a brand new building.
Nice.
The rest of the company is staying behind. Just like my department and another department are moving.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like there's a little jelly going on. Like, oh, you guys
Wait,
get-
so you had your office that was right next to Rough Draft.
right.
So are you next to another brewery over?
No, we're not. We're
you're
kind of like we're
fucked
maybe like a mile or so away from the Carl Strauss restaurant.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
But it's not as cool. Like literally, like Rough Draft is in the same cul-de-sac
Oh, so you're like
as,
right there.
as
yeah.
my office. So I'm kind of sad about that. Like because that was the deal where like, dude, it's been a rough day. It's 3:30. I'm just gonna go.
I'm gonna get a
frickin'
Rough
beer
Draft.
right now.
What you brought some party favors for us. What'd you bring?
This is the haze. It's called Hazy Weekend.
There you go.
So they have their session IPA. It's called Weekday. They
Mhm.
have a grapefruit weekday. It's like a 4.8, and it's you go in there. You have 2 of them in the middle of the day, and you're good to go. The weekend is a bit stronger. It's a 6.8 hazy IPA. So not only is it
That's more my zone.
Not only is it stronger, but because it's hazy stuff tends to be dank AF. So
Yeah. Like a Mondo dang.
I poured that in my glass earlier, and like as soon as it hit, I was like smelling that like pineapple-y whatever stuff, like that extra dank, like fruity smell from IPAs.
Oh yeah.
I did forget to ask the guy when I went, like, just give me the dankest.
Give me the dankest memes. I mean,
But I already knew what it was. I already knew this is the dankest beer they have because I'm there too often.
Yeah. No, I mean, hazy IPAs are a big thing. Like it's like within the last few months here in San Diego.
Yeah,
And
so
I am
you know
not,
about hazy? Do you know the history on that?
I just know that my buddy, he's like, oh, hazy IPAs are cheaper and faster to make, so it's like because they don't have to filter them as much.
Yeah.
And so like that's become a thing that people like them.
So that's a New England thing.
Oh, really?
Like that's how they brew IPAs, like up in like Maine and whatever. And I don't know who kind of like started it all on the West Coast,
Okay.
but it kind of just migrated over. But on the West Coast, it's like, all right, we're gonna make IPAs like kind of the same way, but then we're gonna skip that last filtering step and save some money.
It saves some time, and people like it. I do like it. So it's a trend I dig. I can dig
they're
it.
super juicy, and they're not. They still have like a strong bitter, but because they're so juicy, like the bitterness isn't as overwhelming. Like Stone IPA, I can't drink it. Like Stone IPA just like tastes like chomping down on a pine cone to me.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I mean, I'll drink them in a bind.
They have some
I mean,
other
I'll drink 'em
IPAs that are good. I mean,
No, yeah, I like
that-
their
they're
other stuff.
standard,
I've
yeah.
had like their
Delicious.
I've had Delicious is great. I
Ripa.
really
The Ripper.
yeah, I've had that one. I actually really love Ruination,
Yeah.
their double IPA.
Oh, Jane. Yeah, that one's.
But that's because I'm a sadist or a masochist who drinks like double IPAs, like
I
it's
like-
going out of style.
I like the Enjoy buys. Those are always a jam. For
I
me.
haven't had one yet.
Oh, they they're always a good jam. Like they come out with like every like couple months they come out with a different Enjoy
Yeah.
by this, Enjoy by what.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm really sad I didn't get the Enjoy by 420.
Yeah, I did. I got that one. It says what deliciously dank.
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
that's the one I
Got
got.
at Costco.
Yeah, those are a good jam. All right,
What do you got, new Brian?
oh
Brian.
I'm woke. Well, thanks, Steve. Well, it's a kind of what's new with me, but Kyle he helped me get this going. So I saw this on Craigslist. It was just a smoking deal for an orange AD30 single channel head with a 4x12 cab up in LA
Whoa.
for $1,000.
Whoa.
And so I saw it up in LA, and I was like, okay. I hit up Kyle. I'm like, okay, we're doing a road
First
trip.
you're like, yo, dude.
We're
Check
doing
out
a
this dank deal.
we're doing a broad trip.
A road trip.
A road trip up to LA.
Bro down.
Yeah, so we went up on Sunday up to Future Music in LA, and it's a really cool little music store. It's actually like completely there's crap, excellent stuff. Crap, like
Right.
there's everything there.
Mix, yeah.
Like a bunch of like say like as far as pedals goes, there's like some like Japanese like Boss pedals there, and then like there's like your normal like just-
CE2, I don't think it was made in the 70s.
No, it wasn't. It was like
80s,
early
right?
80s.
Yeah. But
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is that a reference to an earlier podcast we did?
Kyle said something.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Kyle said something.
Thanks, Steve.
Kyle said something stupid.
I know.
I think I was listening to it. Was it today?
Oh,
It might have been
okay.
today.
Just calling his ass out. Well, actually,
Is that why you brought me here today, Steve?
It dropped today.
Brought me to my garage?
You
Hey! You guys need to like just appreciate the fact that like when a new episode of the Tone Jerks drops,
like people are.
It
gonna call
depends. It depends. When you guys have guests on, I'm always kind of 50-50.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not a big fan of like guests on any show.
Okay, yeah.
Just because, but I really enjoy your just the two of you.
Well, thank
the
you.
content. So
Just
that's
the
always
two of us. Right?
Yeah, you can make it if you try. That's not a knock on any of your other guests. I just like it becomes like less of a thing because like I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah,
but I think I have listened to every single one of your episodes.
Well, thank you.
Which is more than I can say for any of the other podcasts who have like said like, oh yeah, we were inspired by you guys or whatever. Like.
Yeah,
there are definitely shows where I'm like, yeah, but like I'm bored right now, and
I guess I'm
gonna listen to Freakonomics.
I guess we'll get more into that, but I'm like, it was actually a really big surprise that you started listening to us early on when we first started. We're like, oh shit, Steve is actually like,
we're like, yeah, 3 episodes in, and you're like,
no, I was like, oh yeah, when
Kyle shit his pants, yeah, that was great. That was
that's
great. Keep it coming, bro.
Yeah, so
all right,
tell me more.
Tell me more.
How did
tell
it
me
feel,
more.
bro?
But
how wet was it?
Well, it was
like pudding.
I thought it was like chili.
It was like pudding and chili.
It's like a bunch of
blended
Hormel
together.
just like thrown in there. Anyways, let me finish my thing. So 80-30. I was super stoked. Oh god damn it! I'm trying to bring it about gear, and then we'll talk about shit later.
I heard when you guys talk about gear, people want to just hear you talk about random shit.
Talk about crap and anime, and then you're good to go. But it was like a thing. Apparently, it was owned by the guy from the Distillers.
Okay,
for $1,000. I was like, okay, it's cool.
That makes sense because you're up in the City of Angels.
Yeah. But it's like beat ass cab. Looks great. Like I love it.
Right there.
Actually,
that is that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And then I had an 80-30 head. I'm like, okay, I'm just like, I'd be stupid to pass this deal up. So I was
Where's
like,
the head?
It's at the studio. So I'm actually running that with my JCM 900 for a stereo.
You always
rig.
say in the studio, but is it actually a studio?
It's actually a studio.
We rent a
rehearsal space,
rehearsal studio with like a billion other bands.
Okay.
It's like we just kind of leave our gear there.
Where's that at?
It's over. We're not going to tell you the address, but
if you want to steal our stuff,
but like what part of town is that in?
Grantville.
Yeah.
Okay, because like the only rehearsal spaces I know of are
Miramar Road,
or where San Diego Drum used to be.
Yeah.
Which is where Code did his
one day
in San Diego. Which I saw you there. And I was like, I know that guy, and we kind of like.
I think I was like,
we kind of like went near this on the 60 Cycle Hum episode. Is like when you came in, I was like, I know that guy from somewhere, but I don't know where.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I'm like, these are giant human beings. Who are they?
Well, no, we're just tall.
They're gigantic. They might be giants. Anyway, so that's my what's new. Nobody cares about that. It's gear. I love
cool.
it.
It was a good trip too.
And we were.
We threw it in the Vic. That actually that thing fits in the trunk of my.
That's freaking crazy.
The Crown Vic. If you're gonna buy a vehicle, I talk shit about it. It's
this
asshole.
No.
So good.
Crown Vic is like. So I keep telling my wife like when the Corolla blows out, like I'm buying a friggin' cop car.
You're pouring sugar down the gas tank and a potato
I'm not
on the pipe.
trying. I'm broke, dude.
It's really cool. Like, and we're taking that shit up to Tracy.
Day.
Yeah, one day we're gonna fucking just swerve up in that thing.
By the time this
super
episode
stoked.
drops, you've already been to Tracy.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
we were.
It was
fucking
great.
wasted.
By the way, one day was awesome.
Okay, so let's get into it. Steve, I'm gonna try and drive this. It's like I got a little bit of an
Good
interview
luck.
for you, and then we're gonna get into some topics.
It's like herding cats over here.
over here.
Why do I have 2 beers and neither one of them is empty?
Because you're in the Tone Jerks. You're in the Jerk Lounge right now. That's what we do over here.
Jerk Central Station.
My hand is not down my pants.
Oh, hey, you know,
Neither's mine.
it's down yours. We take care of our guests here. We take care of our guests here. Okay, so let's get back into it. The beginning. What got you into music? What was the catalyst for you?
So my first guitar I got from my grandmother when I was 12. I still have it. It's a Harmony arch tone.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to date it. I think it dates to like 1955.
That's wouldn't return your calls or something.
Yeah. I was like, hey, and like I swiped right, but the guitar swiped left.
And you're like, what's up, girl?
Yeah. So I got that, and the action's like super high. And to this day, like I do not understand how because I've seen I saw my grandmother play this guitar, and I have no idea how she played because the action is ridiculous. And so
does it not have a truss rod or anything? Or
I don't think so. It has a steel reinforced neck.
oh, okay.
I do not believe it has a truss rod. I've been meaning to try to get it down to Sean Hutchinson, who's down at Pitbull Audio.
Yeah.
Just to get a look at it, just to see what might be possible to do with it. I know on their website, Top Gear has a similar guitar that they did a full restoration on.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's a guitar that's maybe like worth $150, but it's like a family piece. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm like, I don't know what I would really be willing to invest to get it like playing again. And I don't know how close I could get it.
Yeah.
Point being, like, she was this little old lady playing like country western stuff. So she's really only playing like, G, D,
cowboy chords,
A minor, A7, D7, B7, whatever, E minor.
Yeah.
She must have been strong.
Yeah, like there's like I just don't understand it because like even now, like every time I have that guitar tuned down to like D, and it's still like I can't play it above the 5th fret.
Dang.
Like even with like a super slack like tuning going on, I can barely play that thing. But it sounds really like the old blues records of just like this like kind of like daddy, weird, like woody, like super, like it sounds like somebody just put strings on a log and started playing. Like it's very it's like very wood sounding.
Yeah.
So I got that. I took some guitar lessons at the Parks and Rec for like a summer, and I quit.
Quitter.
And part of that was me, I guess, because perseverance or whatever. Part of it was because, like,
because you were a kid.
I was a kid, and we had like these music charts, and like the one song I could play was like the simplified melody to Yesterday, and he wanted us to learn like how to read music and all this stuff because he was a classical player.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just want to play some tunes, man.
I just want to rock.
I want to rock.
So
we're dumb. We both
fast
thought of that.
forward a couple years. I'm at church camp when I was like 14, and the guy who's doing the music, he's just playing guitar, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like he's playing guitar and like he's just playing like some chords, and like I know all these songs. Like I really like these songs, and so I picked up the guitar again, and being a couple years older and like actually like having some hair on my balls and whatever.
Yeah, you're like
I could actually had enough strength to like muscle this guitar.
Yeah, and you're maybe had a little bit more of an idea of where you wanted to go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and at that point I was like, oh, like chords, like that's a thing, and it was like 99, 98, 99, so I could just go get music on like chord charts and whatever on the internet. Because that was a thing, as rudimentary as it was in 1998.
98?
98. What were you guys doing in 98?
I was 10.
All right.
You're really good with math, Brian. I was 10.
That was really fast.
I was 10. I'm smart. Everybody. I'm not as dumb as everybody
you're
says.
just not approaching 30. You're turning 30.
Yep. Dirty 30. 40, 30.
So that got me really into it, and that kind of like launched for me like everything. So the thing is I came back and I learned like all the cowboy chords I needed to know to play the church stuff, the churchy stuff. And then I was in 14, so I was in like 8th, 9th grade. So I started learning all of the music that like I was listening to time, which was like a lot of 5 Iron Frenzy, which you guys hate because it's ska.
Yeah.
And
I like that one song, The Great White North. That's it.
I like Superman.
Is that the one?
By Goldfinger.
I don't think that's 5 Iron Frenzy.
Yeah.
Great
Canada.
White
It's Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah.
That's one of the lines in the song now I think about it.
Yes, the Great White North, our kilts are plaid. If you don't like it, well,
you're dumb, bro.
It's not half bad or something.
It's not half bad. That's what it is. Yeah, it's not half bad. No, if you don't like it, man, you sniff glue. I forget what the rhyme is before. But anyway, yeah, so them and MXPX.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
So I was playing a lot of that stuff. of course, I had to learn the Damn It riff, Blink-182, because everyone knows the Damn It
Mhm.
riff.
It's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, and then other than that, like I did that for a while. Maybe like a year later, I wanted to get an electric guitar so I could actually play out
Yeah.
because the guitar. So my parents got me my first guitar around. I played my grandmother's guitar for a while for like maybe 6 months. And I was like, this thing's really hard to play. Like I need a real acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So we got we went to Guitar Center and got an acoustic guitar. I
Yeah.
had that. I still have it. That's actually the one that I use live now for the church that I
Gotcha.
That
the
was
church that I lead at.
A Mitchell.
It's a Mitchell.
Yeah.
And I did the GFS pickup drop-in.
Yeah.
Completely butchered the saddle on when I did it. So actually, again, Sean at Pitbull, he did a bone saddle for me.
Okay.
Perfect.
That worked great, and so I still play that guitar. But my mom went to I wanted an electric guitar, so I because at the time I didn't have anything with a pickup in it. I was like, I need an electric guitar
Yeah.
so I can play at church.
Yeah.
I can play live. And so she goes to our church's garage sale. She sends me this picture and she goes, "Oh, we got this guitar." And the guy had priced it fairly. It was like $250.
Yeah.
250, 300. But I told her, I was like, you know what? It's kind of weird. Like if it's not under 200, like don't buy it.
Yeah.
And she ended up like buying it for me anyway at 250.
Okay.
That was Fender Jackstang,
Yeah.
which of course now like those guitars are like $600, $700, $800.
Yeah.
But mine has a giant scratch in the back because like I was a kid.
Yeah.
A
A buddy of mine plays one of those. It's a pretty cool guitar. They're like little short scale, right? Or shorter scale.
It's shorter. It's the same scale as like a Jag or a Mustang.
Yeah. Okay. That's tight.
So it's 24-inch scale. It's kind of a trip. I broke the humbucker switch on it because I was definitely like a punk rock chugger kid.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was
Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug.
everything was chords and chugging away, and I never really learned how to play lead guitar because I was like, I can play chords. Like, why do I need to play?
I just want to be
leads?
on stage, dude.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, like I know 4 chords and I can go chugga, 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 chugga. But I actually broke the so anyone listening who's familiar with like Mustang style guitars or Jackstang, it's got the pickup switches on it for like in phase, out of phase, on off.
Yeah.
It's on, off, and phase.
Yeah.
And I broke the one on the humbucker because I wouldn't palm mute. I would like be playing, then I would like slam the guitar to like mute.
Yeah.
And I had duct tape because like I didn't have strap lock, so I duct taped my strap to the
I
guitar.
still do that.
And but I would like slam the guitar so hard that one time I went to like mute the strings, and I hit the switch instead and just decimated it, blew it
Just
out.
obliterate that thing.
It didn't matter because the stock humbucker on that guitar was garbage.
Should have put a JB in there.
I do have a JB in it now.
Oh, shit.
Then
There
I
you
got
go.
Spoiled it.
Then I got installed by Moe's Guitars in La Mesa, and we've come full
Huge
circle.
shout out.
Well, what were some?
so that's how I got started.
What were some early projects? What was your first like band? Did you like you had the hunger for some punk, right?
So I started playing just with the youth group at church.
Yeah.
In high school, but I was like the punk rock kid,
Yeah.
and so we would do songs, and I was never like a vocalist, but we would do songs where I was like, there'd be a really cool screaming part on this. Give me a friggin' microphone.
Yeah.
And so so I was just on the guy in the back going, ah! and we had like, I had a band. We recorded like 3 songs that we wrote when I was in high school. I don't know where any of those recordings are.
Okay.
Because we recorded them like into a karaoke machine.
Oh.
We just put
That's what you got to do.
we just put a microphone in the middle of the room
Yeah.
and hit record on the freaking tape deck, and we all played. And I wrote one of the songs actually, but I mean, I have no idea where any of those recordings are.
You got to find them, dig them up.
I don't have them. Hopefully someone has them, but I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, okay. What was your first gigging band? I'm kind of getting to like, okay.
So my first gigging band was in college.
Okay.
So Ryan, who's the co-host on Six Cycle Hum,
Yep.
and our buddy Adam, who he was on like a couple episodes early on,
Mhm.
and He's done video work for us. He went to our first NAMM and did video. He went to our third NAMM and did video, but only with Ryan, bastard.
Oh God.
But he's done some other stuff with us. Long time friend now. He played drums, and he met Ryan through another friend of ours, Ryan's sister, and they just started jamming. And they were like doing like just 2-piece stupid song. They had a song called man, I don't know. They just had the dumbest songs. They were stupid.
Dang. Throwing some shade.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure they would admit that they were dumb songs. I hope. So I came by one time and I was like, just with my guitar, like just to like jam out and whatever. And they're like, yeah, that was cool, I guess. But like, I don't know, 2 guitars, like it doesn't really work. Like you're just playing the chords while Ryan's just like doing blues pentatonics and whatever. I was like, they're like, but maybe like if you played bass, that would be cool.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's actually, I didn't play bass. I played bass by force. I started going to church where they had an acoustic guitar and a piano player, and Adam was playing drums. Showed up with a guitar and they're like, "Oh, can you play bass?" I was like, "That's just if I just like pretend power chords are one note, that works, right?"
Yeah,
and that's how we got started on bass.
There you go.
And then the Your Favorite Band thing happened, and I don't know, we kind of had like a really weird approach that I felt like was counter to like a lot of what was going on in San Diego in the time, where we were never successful playing paid shows. Like the whole pay to play. So like Soma, Epicenter, like that never worked for us.
Yeah.
Anything where we had to do pre-sale tickets, like just sucked.
Well, when was that going? When did you have your favorite band?
We started, let's see, probably 2004 to 2009-ish, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So you guys did it for a while. Yeah, okay.
Something like that. And we couldn't really do the bar scene because we were kind of just an all ages band. Like
most of your friends,
kind of like a
family.
We were kind of this like weird alterna punk thing.
Yeah.
And where some of our songs were like Dead Kennedys, some of our songs just like didn't. I wanted like in hindsight, like they don't really fit any genre. Ryan could probably tell you like, oh no, I was totally like channeling this band or that band because he wrote everything.
Yeah. I've seen videos of it. It was definitely more like it's very.
Were we wearing all white in those videos?
It was very garagey. As I sucked that bad boy dry. Sorry.
I got a little bit
more drops.
I got the dregs.
Blood from a stone.
Anyway, so yeah, no, I saw it was definitely more like kind of garagey, like yeah.
Oh my God.
No, don't do it.
All right. Steve is adding Sailor Jerry's
to his beer.
So
That's
it up a notch.
That's the Chicken cocktail.
Yeah. You didn't say bam when you did that. So I'm confused.
So I saw it. It was definitely more garagey. It was definitely like rougher around the edges, like punk style, and it was really cool because it was like very like in your face, like to the point in style.
Yeah,
and that was your favorite band, and then you guys did that for a while, and then when we actually came across you guys, you had formed or changed into the Morning Glass.
So we broke up. Our drummer, like he had a lot of musical ideas that just didn't jive with us because he was more into indie folk, like Neutral Milk Hotel of Montreal, like those kinds of bands.
Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons didn't exist, but I gave him a bunch of shit because like they put out their album and I was like, a lot of these songs remind me of Bright Eyes.
Yeah.
And he was pissed because Bright Eyes, like when they first came up, where they were kind of like super emo.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, oh, I'm like, no, like slow down, like drop like the stereotypes, drop the scene and just listen to the music. And Bright Eyes has like, there's a very like weird, like alt country thing going on. I was like, no, dude, you guys are like kind of have this like alt country vibe going on. And like later on, like, I don't know, I said that to him and I remember him getting like really like aggravated about it. And then like a year later, his wife was like, oh, I love the new Bright Eyes album. I was like, you sons of bitches.
I called it.
So anyway, so Ryan and I, when Adam left, he was like, I still want you guys to make music. So we started another band with some other friends of ours called The Morning Glass.
Okay.
And The Morning Glass was kind of interesting because Ryan was still writing all the songs, but I switched from bass to electric guitar. Ryan switched from being the only guitar, so he's playing like both guitar, like just guitar, and lead guitar, to really just being a front man. And then we brought on a new bass player and a new drummer who are husband and wife.
Yeah.
And that was really different because as just the side guitarist, like I became like the lead guitarist. Actually, all the leads on the Morning Glass recordings are me playing.
Okay.
But we always had like a little bit of conflict in there because if Ryan wrote a song that gave me like full freedom, I was putting like stuff that like I listened to a lot of, even now, like I listen to a lot of like Copeland, Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah.
Like stuff that Jimmy Eat World, stuff that has more of like a indie rock emo bass.
Yeah.
But Ryan's very much like a power pop, Presidents of the USA, Harvey Danger, Local H, like these like bands that were like very riff heavy.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like if you listen to some of those tracks, I listen to them every once in a while and I go like, oh yeah, like I can totally hear like this. I understand what I was going for and I understand what he was going for. And it was kind of like, I want to say we weren't like actively fighting for dominance, but when we pitched ourselves to like venues, it was always like, well, how do we describe ourselves? Because I feel like we're more indie rock, but he wanted to be more affiliated with like these like power pop bands.
Yeah.
And it was kind of this weird thing. So we ended up with that band, we played a lot more bars. With your favorite band, we actually played churches more.
Yeah.
And we found that doing that and playing free shows at churches, we actually made a lot more money because we could sell merch.
Yeah.
And what we found playing like Epicenter or whatever is the kids spent like $10 to get in. So they're broke.
Yeah. They have money.
But if a kid, and then we'd get like $1, like maybe $1 per ticket
head,
sold, right?
Yep.
But if we could sell a kid a shirt for $10, we actually only got those shirts printed for $5. So we made $5.
Yeah.
So definitely like doing free shows were like a big advantage to us.
Yeah. I definitely remember that's when we played with you guys, was in the Morning Glass. We played this show was at Dream Street in OB.
Dream Street,
at OB.
We played there like a couple different times. The time we played with you guys, was it with Adult Science?
No, we played with Nods to Nothing,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
our drummer's band.
Okay.
He was the singer, and that was their CD release.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember you guys. I remember talking to you guys a lot, like kind of about gear, and it was like something I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Like, why am I talking to them about this stuff? And then I was like, and then I was also, I remember like looking way up at you guys, talking to you. I'm like, oh, these guys are gigantic. And I'm like, and I was like, oh yeah. So I'm playing like, I think I was like a Fender Strat guy, and I was like, oh, I play Mesa Boogie and stuff like that. And then I remember like, I think I mentioned something about like, oh, do you guys need to use, borrow any gear or whatever? And then I think
You got this dual rectifier. You want to use it?
I'm like, oh, we can leave it up there if you guys need it. Cause I was like, we're so used to bands just like
Yeah.
borrowing gear. And you're like, no, we got our own shit. And I was
In
like,
hindsight, like I wish I probably would, like in hindsight, I wish I would have taken you up on that.
it was like something I was like, oh man, these guys have their own gear. I love them. That was
I'm
it.
trying to think, that show, I was maybe playing a sessionette, so I still have it. I have this, it's a very not known brand called Award Session. I have an amp called, it's a session. The model is a Sessionette 75, and it was a solid state amp that was designed to be, it's an 80s amp, but it's a professional grade solid state amp. But the thing is it's super boxy. So that's the only like downside for playing live with it. Is it kind of sounds a little muffled,
And is it super directional? Maybe
because it's a 1x12,
1x12, yeah.
in a small cabinet, but it was designed for like it's the company's from the UK, so it's designed for somebody to be able to take that
Like
and a
session
guitar
work,
like
yeah.
on the train,
tube.
on the tube, yeah, right. And like because it's like only this big. So I was either playing that or I was playing an acoustic 150 through a Crate 2x12.
To get a big, I think that was the big amp.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Yeah. So that was one, like, I mean, if you ever want to talk bass tone, like I got some ideas on like gigging bass tone.
So what was I guess let's bring it to the rigs. What were the gigging rigs for you? For how about let's go for bass. What was the rig?
Yeah. So my favorite rig with your favorite band where I played bass was eventually, so I started with playing a Squire P through an acoustic 150 and a gutted crate 2x12. So I took a crate GFX 212. The amp was kind of jank, so I threw it out.
Yeah.
I slapped on a birch back that I bought at Home Depot and sawed it out and whatever, screwed it in, put in the jacks. That was my thing. I played a bunch of shows with that. Eventually, I upgraded to an acoustic. I don't remember what the model name is, but it was a 300 watt amp from them. And it was from the 80s. It's the Collaboration series. Their naming conventions got weird. So I don't remember offhand what it was.
Was it a solid state?
It was still solid state, but it was big. I mean, this head.
And it was 80s, so it was like
this
big.
head weighed like 55, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And so I used that through an Avatar 410. And then I added on, I think I had an Avatar 1x15 first. I added on an Avatar 410 to that. So I was playing a full sec with this, but I could never get the sound that I got with the acoustic 150.
Mm.
And I tried different drive pedals. I used a Proco Rat, just whatever I had, Tube Screamers, DS1s, whatever. I found that I lost too much bass.
Yeah.
And the thing is it wasn't even the loss of bass. It was the overemphasis on treble.
Yeah.
Because with the big high-powered acoustic head, it had all these knobs. It had its own drive channel, and it had gain and volume, so you could really like tweak it
and get it in.
But I just could never find the sound that I loved. And eventually, I was driving a Honda Civic, so loading two half-size cabs into a Civic sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
You're like pushed up against the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I actually fit both of them in the back seat somehow, but then I was taking like the rest of our drummer's equipment in the rest of the car. So I eventually got rid of the 1x15 because what I realized was that like the secret to my tone was that acoustic 150.
Yeah.
The 150 and the 150B from acoustic are the same amp, but the 150 has trem and reverb.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a twin reverb, solid state version of a twin reverb.
Yeah.
The 150B doesn't have that. And what I realized was that the secret to my sound live was just cranking this solid state amp. So I'd run at like 12 o'clock, so it would just start grinding.
Yeah.
And because of the way the rest of our band filled out, like electric guitar with a lot of lead work, drums, and Adam was playing a Slingerland kit is a 68 or 69 Slingerland 28x14 kick drum.
Oh shit.
So it was a very fast, low sound. It wasn't like, so again, think back to like 2004, 2006, like everyone's starting to roll out these pork pie, like 20 by 26, 20 inches across, but 28 inches deep, right?
Yeah,
like a
big,
bazooka.
super deep, the bazookas, right? So Adams was the opposite of that. 28 inch head.
The fast attack,
14 inches deep. We played Second Wind in Santee.
Yeah.
And,
that web.
And the sound guy there was like, "Oh, I don't know how to mic this. Hold on." And so he went and grabbed a knife, and we're like, "The fuck are you doing, dude?" Like we went and grabbed like, no. Like he's like, "Oh, it sounds like a trash can." I was like, "Yeah, that's our sound, dude. We sound like a freaking trash can." It's okay.
Yeah, dude.
It's okay. Just let the trash can happen.
Definitely.
And I'm blowing out your.
We're good, dude.
We like trash cans. Keep getting louder.
So that was just the sound. It's very low, but it's very fast.
Yeah.
It's like it's all attack, no sustain.
Definitely.
It's the Zeppelin sound.
Yeah.
And so we went with that for a while. And so what I found is really where I needed to sit was cranked low mids, which is what I got from like, I turned my amp up to about 12, ran my EQ straight up, cranked the volume up to about 12, 1 o'clock through a 4x10 cab. And that was the perfect sound.
That was your perfect sound.
For that band. And it's one of those things where like, I'm so comfortable in that set that like, whenever I'm playing like more traditional bass, whenever I play bass at church now, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. How much lows do I need?
You're like, you're holding me back.
What do you mean I can't play 16 notes a minute or a second or whatever? Like, what do you mean I need to slow down?
But I guess like we kind of touched on your guitar rig, but I want to jump on to you started running a venue, the Park Gallery over in San Diego. How did that actually become a thing? It's like, okay, it was like an art venue, like art space, like all ages venue. Like, how did that actually become something?
So that was, so the church I go to, owns 4 storefronts.
Yeah.
On Park Boulevard, and they're borderline. They're not there yet, and there's a lot of concern that they could become historically interesting buildings.
Gotcha.
Because the church itself was built in like 1955, but those storefronts were built like around like 1905 or so. So they're like over 100 years old. And so at the time, Adam and Ryan and I, we were at that. We all went to church there, and we were trying to figure out what to do with these buildings. And we're like, well, like, what if we do a music venue?
Yeah.
Because your favorite band, like one of the things, again, like that we love to do was free shows.
Yeah.
We do them at churches. There's a church over on, in North Park 30th and Howard, that has a basement, and we would do shows there.
Okay.
That venue was called Soul Jam.
Yeah.
And a lot of like, at least up and coming San Diego, like Christian music scene bands like came up through there. So like, I think POD had played there. Dogwood played there.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of bands like that had gone through there at one point or another. And then they kind of took a hiatus, and they were trying to revive it. And apparently your favorite band was supposed to get signed and become super famous to like relaunch that venue. It never happened.
Yeah.
we did do our last show there.
There you go.
We actually were slated. We did a show at some crappy venue on El Cajon. Last Call? Was it Last Call?
Yes, it was
Or
before
something
they
like
changed
that.
it to Soda Bar.
No, okay, so maybe
That
it
was
was.
Chasers before.
Oh,
Soda Bar.
never mind. Sorry.
So actually, I think it was
Last
Soda Bar.
no,
We-
Last Call. Never mind. Fuck Last Call. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some
Garbage.
issues with Last Call.
Garbage.
So I think we played your favorite band. We played at Soda Bar, and then after that was when Adam was like, "Yeah, I need to do my own thing," and I was like, the last show we played only had one person show up. Plus, like there were 3 people in the room if you include the bartender
and the door guy.
and the door guy, right? And so I was like, that's not gonna fly for me. So I set up a real last show again at this church that used to be Soul Jam. That was running under the Soul Jam name. I think we had like 100 or so kids, but it was a basement.
Yeah,
And so like that's packed.
you're like sardines.
And
here.
yeah. When you're sardines, you don't really care that it's only like 50 or 100 people or whatever, because it's like I'd rather play 100 people in a venue that's designed to fit 80
and then like
than
people
100 people in a venue that's designed to fit 500. Because
And the room sounds better.
and
there's
it sounds
people there.
better,
and people give a shit
and
they're
the
like
people
feeding off vibes.
people care, and the energy's high.
Yeah.
Like everything's free. Like our last show was for your favorite band was off the charts. I don't remember our last show for the morning class,
But-
so that's all that means. But yeah, so we started this venue with the idea of like every show is going to be free, and we're just going to do it off the lessons that we learned from being in a band.
Yeah.
So we started this thing, and one of the things we told the church straight up, because again, we all went to this church,
Yeah.
but we told them straight up, like, if we do this, we're not going to bait and switch. So bait and switch is a thing where, because this is a thing that would happen, like, not to throw Dogwood under the bus, but like you'd go to like a punk show at a church, you'd get the first 2 bands, and before the headliner, the pastor would come up and like give a sermon.
Okay.
And
I didn't
about
know that
like,
was
you
a
know,
thing.
like, no, that's a thing.
Okay.
And hey guys, so glad you came out. Like, yeah, welcome to such and such church. Like, we're really glad you're here. Like, all these bands here tonight, like, like Jesus Christ, whatever. And like, not to downplay what I believe in, because like,
Yeah.
because this is, I feel like I'm being like a bad person, but whatever. But our whole thing was that doesn't work. When you bring people into a space where they think they're here to like hear bands that they love,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden in the middle of it you throw them like a message that they're not interested in,
Yeah.
like it feels cheap.
It feels like just like
So-
it's not genuine, and it's like
Right,
you're
it
like,
feel-
oh,
right, exactly.
I
It
got
fe-
screwed over.
It
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
disingenuous. Exactly. So our whole thing was like, look, just give us space. We will talk to every band one-on-one.
Yeah.
And when people ask us, how do you run this without a venue? We'll be like, well, the church next door owns the building.
Yeah.
And we go to that church and they've allowed us to have a venue to create a safe space.
Yeah, it's like
for music.
It was a very community kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
I actually remember going to a couple shows there.
Yeah.
My friend BJ Gisbera, friend of the show.
I put on one of BJ's shows.
Yeah, he played there with one of his bands too, Add the Color. I remember going there, and it's like, I didn't understand. I'm like, wait, so I don't have to pay to be here? Like, I was like, oh, I like it for me as like, I was like, 21, 22. I was like, wait, so I don't have to pay to go to a venue in San Diego? It was like, at first I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was like very about the music, very about like the art. And I was like, I knew that it was an art space as well. And I was like, okay, you guys are creating a community. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So you guys had this like vision of like, okay, even if like at the time, it was like what, your college kids, like, okay, we're taking something of music that we love. We love music. Ryan's an art guy. Like, we love art. We're making these.
A lot of the art, probably when you came in, a lot of the art on the wall was either from Ryan or his wife.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like, that's a huge thing with San Diego. I'm like, it was like you guys put that energy and put that out there. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, like, it was something that you guys loved, and you guys created like a cool community in San Diego about it. And I thought that was really inspiring. And I'm like, it's like it took somebody for a loop for me. I'm like, wait, so you don't try and screw bands over?
Yeah, no, our whole thing, like, bands would hit something like, oh, can we do like $5 at the door and whatever? I'm like, no, like, look, you guys have CDs?
Yeah, sell merch. Yeah.
No? Okay. Well, burn a bunch of CDs and just sell them, and whatever you take from it, that's your take. Now, because we had a lot of touring bands come through.
Yeah.
Like, for touring bands, we would pass a bucket and be like, hey, if you guys are having a good time tonight, think about throwing some money in the bucket because you haven't paid anything, or because with stuff in the bucket, depending, like, we would try to work out with like the local bands, like, look, we got 2 locals and an out of town. So when we pass the bucket, whatever gets collected, that's just going to go to the touring band.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you guys have merch, like, you need to push that. Yeah. And that was a lot of it. And again, that came from Ryan and I and Adam, our experience with being in a local band, just feeling like every time we played a major venue that, like, yeah, we're going to do this because hopefully we build our fan base, because we're not getting anything out of this. Because, yeah, we sold 50 tickets. What are we going to do with $50? $50 is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I spent $50 in gas just to get here. Like, this is otherwise a waste of my time. If I didn't love, performing, if I didn't love, like, being on stage and the music and the scene, like, then $50 is stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. And I think, we're going to like speed past this, but it's like, okay, you're at a point now. It's like, okay, you're not playing so much in bands anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, shit happens. It's like, okay, you're not like 20 years old anymore.
Yeah, I have
right?
2 kids now.
Yeah. Got the kids, man. But you took that same mindset, whether you want to believe it or admit it, or not, you created a community aspect with your podcast.
Yeah.
So when did like your podcast, like what inspired that? What triggered that? And what made it to be like, okay, this is going to be a thing that I do now?
Craigslist.
Casual encounters. Yeah, got it.
Okay, yeah, casual encounters. You.
Hold on.
Blonde guy with a beard. Me. Brown-haired guy with a beard.
Let's do this.
We were at a church.
That's all it is.
Let's
like,
make a podcast.
Yeah.
No. So Ryan and I, again, like, off of the Your Favorite Band years, like, so my jazz bass, my second one.
Yeah.
From Your Favorite Band. This was after kind of the roots, I guess, of the podcast started. I bought that bass as a Fender American Jazz V. I bought that bass for, out of my pocket, $150.
Nice.
Dang. So basically what happened is I just happened to be in Guitar Trader at the right moment.
R.I.P. and
That's
peace.
a legit venue. Fucking place.
It was a legit. It was a
Yeah.
legit. Because one of the guys from my church, actually not even a guy from my church, a guy who had played bass in my church like 1 or 2 times just as a help out.
We probably know him.
No, well, he's a Marine. I don't know what happened to him. So he was there, and I ran into him and I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" Da-da-da-da. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking to trade in some stuff for a bass pod XT." Because he was going into the studio. So that's, this is like, again, like 2006, 2007, when the XT stuff was legit. No, it was the bass floor.
Yeah.
So it was maybe a year later. And I was like, okay, cool. And so he brings in his bass and he's like showing it to the guys at Guitar Trade. And they're like, they pull out the blue book.
Yeah.
Yo, you ever see the blue
book?
book?
Yeah.
The guitar blue book?
Like old school, yeah.
They pull that thing out and they're like, well, this is a 2001. It's got the carbon truss, the dual carbon truss rod and whatever. And like, this isn't really like whatever. I was like, hold on. I was like, let me make a phone call. So I run out. Actually, I ran across to the mobile because I don't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
No, I had a cell phone. Sorry. And I call Ryan. I was like, dude, can the band, like, do we have enough in the band fund to give me $100 or $150?
Yeah.
So I knew that we had already like financed Adam's drums.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you throw me 150? Because we did 400 for Adam. Can we do 150 for me? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, dude, I have a sick lead on a dope bass.
Yeah.
I'm like, it might be my backup bass, but I think I could find some use for it. And he's like, all right, whatever. So I go back and go, I think they only offered him like 270 or like 280.
Yeah.
For, again, a Fender American Jazz V.
Yeah, Jesus.
5-string jazz bass. And they're like, da-da-da-da. And I was like, hold on, dude. I was like, pulled him to the side away from the guy. I was like, I can do 300 right now. He's like, okay, cool. I was like, all right, let me go to mobile.
Yeah.
I run across the street, ATM, pay my fucking $20 surcharge or whatever. Go back and I'm like, here's your $300. And so effectively, like I always say, like I paid $150 for a Fender American Jazz bass because once the span of the band ended, like I owned it.
Yeah, it was your band. And
but wait, what was the question?
The podcast.
The podcast. So that was kind of like the foundation of this idea.
Like,
okay,
getting
deals,
the
best deal and like getting like the Craigslist deal. So when I was at work, like Ryan and I he was working at his job and I was working at mine, and we would just send Craigslist deals to each other. And we're like, oh, this is cool. Oh, you could buy this and sell it for like an extra $30 or whatever. We did this for years, and then he kind of like started listening to your brother, my brother and me, and some other comedy podcasts. He was like, you know what? Like, if we just took what we like talk about already and like made it funny, like that could be a show. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I started listening to podcasts. I was like, all right, let's give this a shot. So we recorded like 3 or 4 episodes, did kind of a soft release thing.
Yeah.
Pushed it on like a couple different guitar forums we were on and had like a really great response.
Yeah. Okay.
And this was almost 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be 4 years next January.
Definitely.
So I guess over 3 years ago. Is that right? I guess that's right. I don't know.
But I mean, that's one thing I thought was kind of cool is that you've like took the podcast idea and stuff like that. You've like created a community for like gigging musicians, church players, like hobbyists, bedroom players, stuff like that. It's like people who are into gear, and you like kind of like gravitate towards everybody with like the way that you approach gear, whether it's going to be the boutique stuff, whether it's going to be like, oh, the cheaper stuff. Like, so you guys are like the full Monty. You guys like everything. It's
honestly,
like this is your thing.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because like once like we try to get the YouTube thing going, maybe a little faster than we could have.
Yeah,
but it ended up working, and we had one manufacturer hit us up, or we reached out to them, and they messaged back and said, "Look, like your video style's bad, and your video style is too close to what we're already doing, so we're not going to send you anything." And so that forced us to be like, "Well, what can we do differently?" And Ryan actually asked them like, "What can we do different?" And they're like, "Well, if you had captions, that would be different enough to be separate, right?" And we've had other people who are like, "Look, like you guys have like 5,000 subs on or whatever, like 3,000, 5,000 subs on Instagram or on YouTube. Like the real cutoff is number X, right?
Yeah.
Once you get there, like now you're more legit."
Yeah.
And we had people who said, if you don't start charging right now, like you're never going to be able to do it because everyone will expect you to do it for free.
Yeah.
And it's just like social media is such a strange industry to build into.
Is that kind of like what catapulted the podcast, you think? It's like,
well,
did you ever like foresee it going as far as you are now?
It's not what catapulted the podcast because honestly, like the YouTube has surpassed the podcast.
Okay.
In terms of like subs. So podcast wise, like the podcast is big and the podcast is way beyond anything we ever expected.
Yeah.
And it was one of these things where the podcast was Ryan and I hanging out.
Yeah.
It went from us sending AOL instant messengers to each other to like, well, instead of just messaging all day, let's just pick out some of these ads and then talk about them on a microphone. And some of this stuff was, there's always been tweaks along the way.
Yeah.
Whether it was when we got on Patreon, which we only got on Patreon because one of our listeners was like, yeah, look, I was at a church and then like for 6 months and we bought a year-long subscription, but we only like lasted for 6 months and then we folded. So we have a subscription left. If you guys want it, I can hook you up.
Yeah.
Like that's how we got on Podbean. And then flipping over to Patreon, like the number of people we have supporting us between the Patreon listening and the Podbean listening still blows my mind. And that's all money that goes into the show. Like, again, like,
yeah, and it's
I joked about it on the 60 Cycle Hum episode. Ryan's in Germany right now. That's not possible. Like, if we wanted to, I could be in Germany right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I looked at it like, I don't know. I suck.
Yeah.
Like, I suck as a musician. I'm just funny, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
I'm funny.
not to like
Kyle,
You're funny.
Kyle.
Yeah, you're
Kyle,
funny.
you haven't said anything in like 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm listening
funny?
intently.
Am I
Yes,
funny?
you are funny, Steve.
All right.
You don't need my validation.
But I think,
Gosh.
besides, like anything like downplaying yourself, I'm like, it's like you guys created a community, and I think it's like you guys are really inspiring people to like, speak out and be like passionate about guitar and passionate about what they do, and that's a huge thing. It's like whether you believe it or not, like you're touching people, and the people are excited, people are happy, people are fun, like having fun about things that are positive, and I think that's a great thing. So I'm like, don't like downplay it, like what you guys do.
I think we hit a moment where the biggest guitar podcast that we knew of at the time was Six String Bliss.
Yeah,
and they were kind of winding down for reasons that I don't know of. They were kind of just doing user contributed episodes at that time. And GAK, which is now Guitar Nerds, they existed and they were kind of ramping up. And so Ryan and I just jumped into it thinking that there's only one other podcast in existence. One other guitar podcast.
Yeah.
So we had some room and we just did it and we did it and we did it. And we went to NAMM and Daniel Tyack from formerly Salvage Custom, he's kind of just being himself now.
Yeah. He's just a dude.
Just a guy.
Yeah.
Duding up somewhere.
Helped us out with some stuff.
Yeah.
And got us going on the YouTube side. And everything's kind of just like gone upward from there to where Ryan as a freelance graphic designer, like the podcast has helped him out on that side because he relies on getting work. And sometimes that work is drawing pictures.
And it's like, maybe
sometimes that work is making demos.
It's maybe showcasing like his work, and he's able to do for him, like marry a couple passions of like video. If it's like, it's art, it's, guitar, it's like audio, it's all this stuff like that. And I think that's really cool. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to cut it off from gushing about your podcast.
Thank you. Let's talk about something where I get to feel bad about myself.
Yeah. Let's do like a couple topics. We didn't tell you these topics.
No, that's the best way.
Boom. It's like, figure it out, bitch.
I'm doing the old 60-second hum special here. I'm pouring rum into my Miller Lite.
You didn't even try a Miller Lite on its own.
I did.
Okay, it's
I
not
did.
enough for you. Huh?
Just spice you up with that spice
I'm just
rum.
a bad person.
Okay, so the topic we got one, maybe two. We'll see how this goes. Maybe this will be a Patreon thing. But the first topic I have here is for guitar modding.
Yeah.
So we're gonna riff off of this a bit. What is your threshold for modding a guitar? Like, is there like a money amount? Like, I won't put this much into this much of a guitar. Do you even mod guitars? And why would you even mod a guitar?
I think it comes down to how much you love the instrument. So, in the case of the Fender Jazz V I had, the only modification I ever did to that bass
Change the strings.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I put a thumb rest on it, but I didn't put it in like a traditional thumb rest position.
Yeah.
I actually did and as weird as it was at the time, it makes more sense now. I put it in the quote 9-inch nails position. So, are you familiar with bass ramps?
Yes.
So that's
I've done some research recently
on bass ramps, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I've never heard of bass ramps, but the position I had my thumb rest in on my Jazz V was just directly perpendicular to the bridge pickup.
Okay.
So the bridge pickup was there, and I actually had my guitar tech cut off the end of the thumb rest so it would be like flush.
Yeah.
And then just almost like 2 inches out from that pickup. So I had almost all the space between the two pickups to like play on.
Okay.
And it was just because I wanted to play in between. It wasn't even about tonal. It was about the fact that like I wanted the look of pull pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't want to, because I played so aggressively in your favorite band. When I was playing directly above the bridge pickup, there was like, we would play shows where I would go home and be dealing with blisters on both hands.
Oh, dang.
The fretting hand, not as much, but definitely on the pick hand. And I figured out that like some of that was because I would dig so deep that I was actually hitting the pull pieces on my bass.
So no pick for you.
No pick. No,
Okay.
I was a finger player.
Finger guy. Okay.
So we're doing this like
This
pseudo.
interview's over.
You pick guy?
Yep.
Of course.
100%.
I've like learned to play with pick, but actually I sprained my thumb in college, and so it's really hard for me to play with a pick.
Life injury.
For more than like a couple songs. Like after that, like my thumb starts to freaking ache like crazy.
So you can't get on the Xbox and pwn some noobs? No?
I haven't. I was always more of a PC guy.
There you go.
But yeah,
Use your thumb for spacebar.
Like, is there like, okay, is there like a threshold for you for like, I won't put this much into the guitar? Like, okay, if you had like a $200 guitar.
I think you got to really love it.
That's it. Okay.
So like my Telecaster, which is actually funny because I think it was probably the same guitar that I was playing when the Morning Glass played with you guys like 10 years ago or whatever. That guitar is basically in the same state. And that was a weird situation where I traded a Ashdown 2x10 cabinet for a bunch of Telecaster parts.
Yeah.
And then I gave that to, there's a guy locally named Ron Childress. I don't know if you ever happened upon him on Craigslist.
Nope.
But he's a guitar tech out of his garage. He was doing a ton of work for Ryan and I basically showed up at his place and said, here's a bunch of parts, build me a guitar.
There you go.
And he did it. And I don't even think, if I paid for it, it was minimal. I think I mostly paid him in parts.
Paid
because I was in college.
Parts and beer. Yeah.
And that thing has been a state. But I think if you really love an instrument, like it's hard to say like, well, I've hit my limitation.
Yeah.
But on the same time, like if you go out and buy a Fender Mexican Strat for $300 and you get it and you're like, oh, this would be cool if I drop $200 in pickups in it, like you're stupid.
Well, we're going to get into that with mine. But first, before that, Kyle, what do you have to say about this whole thing? Modding, what's your thing? What's your hot take on this piece?
I don't ever... I mod something for usability. I don't mod it to go, oh, I can get something out of this later, or, you know.
Like
so
flip it.
I always mod it for myself.
Okay.
So, like, you know, I've had like just a shitty P base, like was an Affinity Squire. It's right there.
That pink boy.
The pink and mint.
I was gonna go pick it up, but there's no strings.
There's no strings on it. That I took the strings off so you wouldn't do that. There's also no bridge if you look closely.
Bastard.
I have a badass 3 I'm putting on it, so it's like polishing a turd. Steve is now getting up to go look at the said P base and knocking over a bunch of spray paint.
It's all right.
Go for it. Just do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Grab
do
it.
it.
It's underneath that. It's underneath something.
Okay. Anyways, it's what it looks like. It's a Squire Affinity, but I want to put a legit neck on that, and I have legit pickups already in
What's
it.
wrong with the neck that's on it?
It's rosewood and it's garbage.
I think it's the fret.
Okay,
I think
okay.
the frets are garbage.
It's just
What the rosewood part I could like argue with, but I don't really care.
I mean, I want
It's a tone
maple. I want all maple vintage, satin
Okay. How'd my
tinting
pizza
on it.
get over there?
I don't know. I think it was because you stumbled across it. Anyways, I wanna get a neck for it, and then that thing will be done. I have a badass 3 that's going on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a string through. So I got a drill. I've already
Wait,
drilled.
there's a badass 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's how old I am. I only know about the badass 2.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
trays.
I have a 3 on my P base that I use on the rig.
Yeah. You get the drill press over there and get the string through. Boom, done.
Bastard right here. So I gotta do that. So it's a learning experience, but it's fun. It's what I'm doing with it. I haven't spent a shitload on it, but
Right.
But I think that if, like you said earlier, if you really like it, if it's like sentimental,
Yeah.
but also if it works, if it's something that already works and you think you can make it better, do it. You're gonna
Right.
make mistakes. You're gonna fuck shit up, but I think you're not gonna know until you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm working on other things right now, but Brian wants to talk right now.
I think,
I'm gonna turn it over to you.
He does?
He's
been talking this whole time.
Kyle, why do you let him talk?
I don't know. I'm gonna beat the shit out of him after this because he didn't let me talk this whole time.
They won't let me drink. Okay, for my thing, I'm more on the mod it because I love it kind of thing. But I love it. So I have.
I'm sad you got any of those Evertunes here?
I do not. I should have brought one.
God,
Would have blown your mind. Like,
I just don't believe in Co's ability to bend strings.
yeah, no, it's fuck.
he ain't strong enough to be on Evertune.
It's fucking sick. Anyways, so that's my whole thing. I have an Affinity Squire Stratocaster.
Oh shit, you got one too?
And I threw on that bad boy.
Who doesn't?
Is that a Squire by Fender?
Yeah. So I have it, and I have on there I put a Warmoth neck. I put locking Spurzell tuners.
Okay.
A new bone nut. I put graphite saddles on the bridge. I put a Seymour Duncan JB. I put a new just singular tone pot, or no, just a volume pot in there. I put I put some duct tape on there.
So what?
You put some duct tape?
So then the only thing left is the body.
Yeah.
The pick guard actually too.
In the pick guard, like, well, I mean,
broken pick guard.
I ripped half of that away, and so on that thing, it's just like it is still kind of an Affinity Strat. The only thing left over is the body.
Right. So all you're saying is I bought a tiny Strat.
It's not tiny; it's regular size.
The Affinities are usually a little thinner, right?
Possibly, I guess.
It's a thinner body. It's
Okay,
a full size,
full
but
size,
it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
instead of being like 1 and 7/8, it's like 1 1/2 or whatever.
Gonna take your word on that one, buddy.
I forget the numbers. I know the bullets are thinner, and I was thinking
Yeah.
the Affinities are thinner.
So this one,
God, I'm a freaking nerd.
it's I love
Yes, you
the
are.
guitar to death, and I play it a lot, and I've used it a lot. It has like a certain like feel to it that people are like, this looks like garbage.
Sure.
It looks like shit. It's
It
covered.
sounds like garbage from your description.
and then it's covered in blood, it's covered in sweat and shit like that, and people play it. I'm like, wow, this sounds great, actually. Like, because of like, I don't know if like,
well, this sounds great, but I also have hepatitis.
yeah,
I don't know how you got it because I don't have it.
yeah.
Someone else's blood, not mine.
Brian.
Probably from the bathroom you were in, dude. Get off your knees.
Got on the toilet. Jesus Christ.
Humana.
What
Anyways,
are we doing?
That joke was so bad, I just lost listeners.
Yeah, I just got hepatitis from that joke.
Yeah. So anyways, with that, like that guitar, it sounds really great and plays really great. And because it was my first guitar,
Sure.
I have that connection with it. This
Yeah.
was like the one I'm like, I worked my ass off to get this guitar when I was a kid. And I'm like, I still play it now.
$120.
Yeah. And I no, because I bought that
That's a lot of ass.
with, you know,
You didn't have a lot to move with anyway.
yeah,
so.
when I was a youngster, that with the amp and everything like that, I was super excited to get that. And so that to me sparked that passion of like, this is the guitar. Like I'm playing music with this thing. And like for me now, I'm like, I'm almost fucking 30 years old. I'm like, that still drives me today. And I can grab that. And I'm like, I used it for tracks on the new album that we did, latest album that we did. And people were like, oh, it sounds great. I'm like, well, I used a Squire on that shit. I'm like, well, because if you're running a Squire through like, you know, an Orange or a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, like it's going to sound fucking great.
You're not going to hear how shit it sounds.
And you know, that I
it's
mean,
like as cork sniffers as Kyle is, it's going to sound good.
I think that's the thing that people, you know, coming from, oh, Jesus.
I love that.
We're not going to cut that.
That's fine. Coming from like a church community where people like don't know how volume knobs work, it seems like all the time, or volume pedals. You know, when you have something that sounds great, even if it's noisy for one reason or another, or a lot of times, like I've owned instruments that are like, oh, this is noisy. Even my Telecaster is noisy on the bridge pickup because again, it's a single coil in a building that's not well. It's not the best electrical.
Yes,
design,
interference.
right?
Yeah.
You know, but I learned to like, between songs, I'm going to dial it back.
Drop it, yeah.
Yeah, roll it back, yeah.
Because that's the tone I want. So when you find the tone you want, especially in a studio situation where like you have an engineer who can gate it, or you have an engineer who says, look, I'm going to pull this guitar out for the chorus because it's the perfect tone I want for the chorus.
Yeah, and
that's
then you
what I'm
just like
gonna
fade the waveform.
Like,
yeah.
so just figure it out, you know, exactly. And so guys like so often go like, you know, oh, for a long time, the Stratocaster, I think it's starting to come back but for a long time, it was kind of like out of style because there was no humbucking at all.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a 2 or 4, but even then you're like, it
sounds kind of weird.
The sound
Yeah,
I want, like, because even the neck pickup on a Strat is pretty punchy. If that's what you're riding with.
Yeah.
Like the Strat neck pickup is one of my favorite sounds. It's not the most usable sound, but I love it.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of guys are like, oh, it's noisy every time. Like I'm in this situation or that situation. Like there's just a buzz. I'm like, well, just roll your volume.
Just fucking
off.
or just fucking deal with it, dude. And it's like that's the biggest thing. I've been in situations where we've had dirty power
right
with humbuckers and with like a noise gate on.
Oh, so you've played at the last call.
Yeah. Yeah. We played at the Blonde Bar. I'll bleep that out. Okay, we're gonna wrangle this in here.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning into the Tone Jerks podcast. I'm going to throw a little thing out there. If you guys want to help support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/theToneJerks. And
you should do it.
Do it.
Like legit, as a semi-ish professional podcaster, if you enjoy a program, throw them $1. It's only going to cost you $12 a year. That's, you know, a cup of coffee from Starbucks every 3 months.
Yeah.
But the feedback that it gives us as the producers is immeasurable.
Yeah, as
like $1, a couple bucks. Like if you give $5, that's 1 cup of coffee a month.
Yeah, as like content creators, it's really cool. So, you know, if you guys want to contribute, that's really cool. If you want to do so at $2 a month, we put out an extra episode every week. You guys can listen to that. It's a lot of, you know, some cool shit, some drunken bullshit, some other stuff behind the podcast, behind the scenes.
Wait, do you need some behind the scenes from me still?
we could do whatever, but
I'm sure you got a little more in you.
I definitely do. I've got half a beer here and I'm still hungry.
I think we're gonna do that. So we got some more shit to record, and we want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers. We have Co and Phil from Co and Phil. Jesus Christ.
From Flippin' Flippers!
Yeah, we got Co and Paul from the Flippin' Flippers podcast. We have Fatfoot Effects, and we have RJ Smith. They're all our Patreon subscribers, and you guys can be just like them and be fucking cool. Be the cool kids. And we will see you next time. I think we're going to record that next episode right about now. We love you.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.